Okay, just wanting to ask about the beginning or the startup of the Indigenous Focusing Oriented Therapy program, and also when Indigenous Tools for Living started, and just
Okay,
that process.
that's really interesting. Yeah, because I met Jean in the late 70s, early 80s, but before that I was already running child abuse workshops and also therapy groups for survivors of child sexual abuse. And it was called SEPSA, Support Education and Prevention of Sexual Abuse Against Children. I was already doing that in the country, and starting up the first survivor groups across the country, along with Maureen McAvoy and I. Were very busy running child abuse programs, and we had curriculum already designed. I had curriculum for workshops around child sexual abuse and workshops on running groups for women who had survived and men who had survived child sexual abuse. And then I decided to decolonize focusing oriented therapy. Focusing oriented therapy is a therapy that Jean Genlin developed out of the University of Chicago many years ago, and I liked that it was body centered and it seemed to have a good Indigenous framework. So even though or should I say, it was something that was easy to decolonize. So it was something that allowed you to have access to a much deeper self and interconnectedness. So I took his work and decolonized it, and he was up for it. He thought that was great, and he said, "Go to town, Shirley. Go do that." And so I did it, and I think that started around in the early '80s. And so, but when I was teaching focusing in the early '80s, I would only have 8 students at a time, and I'd be the only one teaching and doing the whole thing, right? But we weren't reaching, as many people as needed it. So it grew so that we have our students. We have 20 students per class, and we usually have 7 cities at a time that we're running. Right, yeah. We're all over the place now, right? And so now there are many more instructors. I'm not the only one, but I used to be the only one doing everything, right? And so now we have maybe, I don't know, there's probably more than 25 of us. I mean, I don't even know how many of us there are. There's so many of us that teach together and coach together and work across the nations together on decolonizing psychotherapy. The curriculum is always in flux. We're always developing it. So as we learn more, it grows. And so people who took this 20 years ago, because we've been around a long time. If you come to it now, it'll look very, very different, right? So the communities are the people who develop the curriculum, because we learn in communities, and then I put it into some kind of curriculum. So it's community driven, and always in flux, and we're constantly learning more and delivering more. Indigenous Tools for Living came along because not everybody wants to be a counselor, and also people have to wait years to get an IFOT program. So it was like a 3-year waiting list to get IFOT for a community, because we just can't reach the communities fast enough, right? So I developed Indigenous Tools for Living as a feeder program for people that were waiting for IFOT. So if you're waiting for IFOT, and it might take me 2 years to get there, or our teams to get there, and not even me anymore. Like, I don't even teach in BC anymore. I only teach in the far north, or places where other instructors won't go, because there are enough instructors here that know the program, can teach the program, and are solid at what they're doing. So, a lot of the cities I don't even get to anymore. I go where no one else will go, or if there's a big problem somewhere or something, I'll go. But generally speaking, it's self-sustaining now in a wonderful way. There's so many instructors and teachers. So I'm trying so hard to do myself out of a job. I think I'm getting there. So Indigenous Tools for Living teaches people how to be beside complex trauma, and how to bring their burnout levels way down. it doesn't teach them how to be counselors. And so while it's a fabulous program to help frontline people, frontline workers, communities need more than that so they can take over their mental health. They need the full IFOD, but you have to wait a long time for that. Like in Moose Factory now, I think out of 20 workers, 17 of them are IFOD trained. They don't have to bring people in anymore because they can handle anything. Clustered suicides, whatever's happening, they've got the tools and the ability, and they can look at it from an Indigenous lens, from a decolonized lens, and that's true up north in northern BC too. They're getting, like, they have a lot of people there that are well trained, that can handle from an Indigenous lens in a culturally appropriate way, handle whatever's going down, right? So it's been a very good program for people. Did I answer that?
Yeah, I think you did there.
Anything else?
I'm
Have
just
we got
thinking
it?
about, no, I think that's
That's
good.
it. Good.